In a little town by the sea stood a dusty old shop filled with forgotten treasures, cracked teacups, faded photographs, squeaky toys, and clocks that hadn't ticked in years. The shop belonged to an old man named Arthur. And right in the back, half hidden behind stacks of old books and broken lamps, hung a wooden clock. Its case was scratched, its gold numbers had lost their shine, and its hands were stuck forever at 3:45. For as long as anyone could remember, that clock hadn't moved. Arthur often looked at it with a sigh and told his customers, "Just like that clock, I stopped a long time ago." He had lost his wife, Eleanor, many years ago, and with her, his laughter seemed to fade too. Every morning, he opened the shop slowly, dusted the shelves, and sat in his creaky armchair, listening to the silence tick louder than any clock ever could. Sung with small cloud hash one quiet afternoon, the bell above the door jingled softly. A young girl with bright, curious eyes stepped inside. Her name was Michelle. She loved collecting forgotten things, broken toys, torn books, and old bits of metal, and turning them into something beautiful again. Michelle wandered through the shop, humming quietly, until she spotted the old clock in the corner. She tilted her head and smiled. "It's beautiful," she said, running her fingers along the dusty wood. Arthur chuckled softly. "Beautiful. It's been stuck at the same time for 40 years. Michelle looked at him thoughtfully. "But that's the point," she said. "It's not pretending to work. It's honest." Arthur frowned a little, unsure what she meant. She smiled and added, "It's still right twice a day." Arthur blinked. He'd heard that saying before, usually with a laugh or a shrug, but the way Michelle said it felt different, gentle, almost magical. She wasn't teasing. She was admiring. "The world has 1,000 clocks," she continued, "and they're all telling different times. But only a broken one can be perfectly right, twice every single day. That's kind of special, don't you think?" That evening, as Arthur sat quietly, he glanced up at the clock. The setting sun spilled through the window, and for a moment, the light touched the clock's hands, frozen at 3:45, making them gleam golden again. Arthur smiled softly. Maybe Michelle was right. Maybe being stuck didn't mean being useless. Maybe, even when you stop moving, you can still be right, still matter. The next morning, for the first time in years, Arthur felt a spark of energy. He took the clock down carefully and placed it on his workbench. He didn't try to fix it, he didn't even know how. Instead, he polished its wood until it shone. He cleaned the dusty glass. He traced each gold number with a careful, steady hand. He wasn't erasing its age, he was honoring it. A new beginning. When Michelle returned a few days later, she stopped in surprise. The clock now sat proudly in the front window. Its hands still pointed to 3:45, but it gleamed like new, glowing in the sunlight. "You didn't fix it," Michelle said, smiling. "No," Arthur replied, his eyes twinkling. "I just reminded it that it was still right." From that day on, Arthur wasn't just the quiet man in the dusty shop. He began repairing other treasures, a chipped teapot, a broken toy car, a rusty wind-up bird. And though his own clock still stood still, Arthur's heart began to move again. He learned that you don't always have to rush or change to find meaning. Sometimes, being still, and being true to who you are, is exactly what makes you right. Glowing star moral of the story: even when you feel stuck or broken, you still have value. You can still shine, inspire others, and be right in your own special way. Learning themes, self-worth and acceptance, finding purpose in stillness, the beauty of imperfection, kindness and perspective, hope and renewal. Bye.